Hey guys, it's Erica, and today we're going to be discussing your guys' plant problems. So I asked you in a previous video if you guys wanted to see, kind of like a plant doctor type of thing, and there was an overwhelmingly good response to that. So a few of you sent me pictures of your plants that you were having problems with, and I'm here to diagnose those problems. And also, if you guys have any advice to give on these plants as well, feel free to leave them down in the comments down below. I'm going to have each problem kind of numbered so you can comment in regards to plant problem number 1. I feel like it'd be more organized that way. But yeah, so we're gonna see if I can help you guys with your plant problems. I have chosen out 5 questions because I could not choose all of them. There were quite a few. So yeah, let's get to the first one. The first 2 were actually sent from the same person, but I'm gonna read off the first one. So I have this Hoya, and I think I overwatered it once, first week of purchase, and so I stopped watering and only did so when the soil was dry, and since then it's been losing more leaves and stems. I've had it for 1 to 2 months now and keep it in a filtered southern window, and it's a 6-inch pot. I think I should size down the pot, question mark. And then this is a picture of the filtered window. I completely understand. My north facing window is kind of like that. It's just it's kind of like a curtain, kind of like having a sheer curtain on your window, so it's not as bright as it could be. Hoyas anyways kind of like bright light, so I think the lighting is fine and everything. In my opinion, it is from that initial overwatering. Personally, this problem has also happened to me. So I had a Hoya macrophylla, and it was really beautiful, and I found it and I was so happy to finally have one. And the soil that it came in was already really wet. It might have been overwatered at the nursery, I'm not too sure, but it was really wet and the soil took kind of a really long time to dry out, and I regret initially not repotting that Hoya right away, and maybe I would still have it to this day. But yeah, it lost its leaves and it lost a bunch of stems. So I think from that initial kind of overwatering, that's where the roots go wrong, and it's kind of hard to revive from there, in my opinion. This also was a problem that I had with this silver dollar vine, and it's not a Hoya, but they're pretty similar. What I did with this plant is what I recommend that you do with your plant. I essentially just repotted it. I took out all of the dead stems because there were a bunch of them that were dead, and when you repot it, you can clearly see that there are more dead stems than you would have thought. So I had to remove all of those out and cut off any rotted roots that you find, because they can maybe spread the rot to the other roots around it. So you want to keep the plant as healthy as possible, and I would definitely recommend sizing down the pot so that the soil doesn't stay as moist for as long. And I think how you're watering it now is probably pretty good. If you can, I would use a moisture meter just to be 100% sure that everything is fine. Put it into a really well draining soil. What you can do is, if you have a potting soil mix, I would add a bunch of perlite or pumice, whichever one you have, and some orchid bark to it, just to really increase that amount of oxygen in the soil so that it's not so wet. And then hopefully you can nurse it back from there, back to health. If you start to repot the plant and you notice, or you have a feeling like this plant's probably not going to revive, because the plant does look pretty big still, I would recommend to take cuttings of the plant. And that is probably going to be I think that's the highest chance of survival for this plant that you have. That's pretty much what I would do. I would take cuttings because it looks like it's long enough to take cuttings. Cut off any of the dead leaves, the dying leaves. I hope it will survive. If anything, at least the cuttings will survive, and you can just start a whole new plant from there. And it also feels really nice to start a whole new plant from scratch, especially after you've gone through so much stress with a plant like this. I wish you lots of luck on your Hoya. So definitely repot it, and then if you can, use a moisture meter. But it sounds like you're watering it pretty well right now, but in my experience, once the roots get to that level, it's just really hard to revive it just by taking care of it properly. And then his next question is, and then he has a pinstripe ornata calathea. I don't know what's messing it up. I keep a humidifier, give it distilled water and purified water. I keep it in a south window but with a white curtain and white tinted window so it's not extreme light. All my other Marantan calatheas are doing fine and growing near it, so... And by messing up, it hasn't shot any new growth, and little by little the leaves turned yellow and the others crisp. Okay. I 100% relate to this problem. I brought my ornata here. So I have the same exact problem. The leaves are crisping like this. So this is also a question for you guys to jump in, because I feel like this is such a struggle plant for me. I don't have like the best advice. I'm not a calathea or not an expert or anything, but it sounds to me like he's doing everything right. These are kind of like the same exact things that I'm doing. From what I'm thinking, like my idea or my opinion on what's happening is that this plant is just a fussy little plant, and you kind of have to keep moving it around, keep, slowly changing little things until you get it perfect. And then once it's perfect, it's perfect. Don't touch it. So I used to also have mine in a south-facing window, and mine also had the same screening that his did. So he said that he has the, kind of white tinted window, and then he has curtains and a south-facing window. I also had mine in a south-facing window with like a similar amount of blocking from the light, but I have since moved it into an east-facing window, so it's getting a lot less light. I feel like that has helped it a bunch. And from doing that, I don't think the leaves have crisped up anymore. So maybe moving it into a window with a little less light. They do like to be watered often, so that's something that I'm not sure if he's doing, but I would water it. Never let the soil dry out, not even close. What I do to prevent that is I keep this little tray of pebbles at the bottom, and I will constantly be refilling it, and the roots look pretty good at the bottom. So this is just a recent thing that I've done so that, I make sure to never let it dry out. But that is like the one thing that I think might be contributing this. So maybe give it a little bit less light, and just never let the soil dry out, because they are very fussy about that. But like I said, you guys leave your opinion down below, any advice that you guys have, and we'll move on to the next question now. Hi, so I have a variegated Hoya Kerrii, have had it for a few months with zero change. Saw a video that someone recommended using orchid mist fertilizer on Hoyas daily. Now it's starting to get yellow leaves. I stopped using the fertilizer, but the leaves are still yellowing. How can I stop it? So I think that Hoyas grow pretty slowly, especially a variegated Hoya Kerrii grow very slowly. So I don't think that the problem was or is needing more fertilizer. For growth, I think that is mostly reliant on having enough sunlight, being watered on time every time, and just having a really good environment for it. Lots of humidity would help, and I don't think that the fertilizer would help the Hoya grow. And it might have worked for the other person, like different things work for different people. But for her it didn't work, and at least she stopped using the fertilizer, but the leaves are yellowing. So to stop the yellowing leaves, what I would recommend is to water the plant and leach the soil out so it doesn't have any fertilizer in it. Because I don't think that Hoyas need to be fertilized that much in general. Every day kind of seems like a lot. I think just getting rid of those extra nutrients that it doesn't need would help it to stop the yellowing leaves. But keep in mind that leaves that already started yellowing are gonna completely yellow. So if you want, you can cut them off, and that might help to kind of gauge how fast leaves are yellowing, or if new leaves are actually starting to yellow, because sometimes we can just see one leaf progressively getting more yellow, and it's kind of freaks us out, because it's like we fixed everything and this leaf is still yellowing, but it's only that one leaf that's yellowing. So like for the other Hoya, if it doesn't seem like the plant is going to revive, I would recommend taking a cutting, putting it in water, letting it root, and maybe repotting it at a later date. Preferably cutting with more than 2 leaves for a Hoya Kerrii, but that's what I have to say on this topic. So we're going to move on to the next one. Okay, so this one was posted on the Facebook group, and it says, "Hello friends, why do I get brown marks on my pothos? They also can get knotty and not smooth. Got some ideas of too much water, but I don't water much at all." And then these are the photos. So there's a neon pothos and an enjoy pothos. And I can see I can see why people would maybe suggest that the pothos is being overwatered, because that is my initial reaction to seeing this also. So I really think that this is an overwatering thing. I don't have any plants that have that problem at the moment. I would recommend to get a moisture meter. For a lot of these problems, a moisture meter is really helpful. I almost exclusively only water my plants when I have a moisture meter now. So yeah, I think a moisture meter would be good. If this person feels comfortable, I think repotting it would be a good idea. Just taking a look at the roots, seeing that they're not rotted, and maybe repotting it into a soil that is more well draining. I always think that's a really good solution. Repotting any plant into a soil that is more well draining is like my go-to to try and solve the issue. Or maybe even this can be that the plant is needing a bigger pot or is root bound. This kind of is how my narrow form Adansonia looked like before I repotted it. Yeah, I think repotting this plant will help resolve the issues, and also kind of keep an eye on if any new marks are popping up instead of just these old ones here. And then, like I said, watering for pothos, I think it's okay to water when the soil is completely dry and they'll be fine. And it's better to underwater this plant than to overwater it, in my opinion. So yeah, wait till the soil is completely dry before watering it, and then repotting this plant into soil that this person is completely comfortable with. Okay, and then this last question is from Facebook as well. So this says, "Hi, I'm new to water propagating and I would like to ask for advice. A couple months ago, I propagated a Sansevieria leaf and now it has healthy roots and 3 little pups coming out. Yay!" I would like to keep them in the water until the pups are tall enough, just so I won't have to bury them. Should I drop a little bit of fertilizer to the water so the plant can get some nutrients, or is it too early? Can I leave the fertilized water for a week or only a couple of days? This is my first ever propagation. I'm just so happy that it was a success." Well, first of all, congratulations to this person on their success, because those are some really good looking roots and the little pups are coming out, so that's really exciting. There was a point in time where I also had a rooted Sansevieria and it had a pup coming out. I did not fertilize the plant while it was in its little propagation container. I just kind of repotted it like that, and it's okay if the pups get buried, but if this person wants to wait until the pups get bigger, then that's fine. I don't think that it needs any fertilizer, but this can be fertilized. So what I use to fertilize is this indoor plant food, and this is a liquid. It's a very gentle fertilizer. It is a 1:1:1 ratio, so that's it. It's super gentle, and since it's like a little pump, you can decide how much to put. I put as little as possible, and I leave it in there in the water for a good amount of time until the next time I completely replace the water. And I don't completely rechange the water often. I will mostly just kind of refill it, like continue topping it off until the water gets dirty, and that's when I'll replace it. And that happens about like once a month. And I won't fertilize it every single time I replace the water. I'll do it maybe once every like 3 or 4 months or so. It's not an often thing. Or sometimes I'll do it if I notice that a leaf is yellowing, and that kind of, I'll put some fertilizer in there. I have some plants that live in water, and this is what I use to fertilize them. For propagations, I don't think it's necessary. Like I said, if you want to, you can, but it's not a must. Like, your plant is going to be fine without it, and it's kind of the safer route to go, in my opinion. I wouldn't want to cause any fertilizer burn on a new little baby, but that is so exciting. Yeah, well, that is it for today's video. So we covered those 5 questions. Like I keep saying throughout this video, if you guys have any recommendations, any advice, any insights, those would be super appreciated in the comments down below. It will help me learn, it will help the original poster learn, anyone who reads the comments will learn, and we'll all just grow together in our knowledge of plants. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I can do another video like this, so if you have any plant problems you would like addressed, you can send me a picture of the plant. Be sure to send a picture because it's a lot easier to kind of see like how the yellowing looks or whatever it may be, and a description of, you know, where the plant is, how often you water it and such, how long you've had the plant is helpful. And you can send those to my Instagram, you can post it in the Facebook group, or you can actually email it to me too. So I'll have all that information down in the description box below. But yeah, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe to my channel for some more plant content, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!